Oh yes, that'll get you nice and pumped up on a Sunday afternoon wherever you're listening around Victoria, Australia or around the world. Massive Sunday rub coming your way today. The Bulldogs, can they get it done over the Bombers? That is the game we are covering. Ash Hansen to join us from the Bulldogs. Timmy Taranto. What a classic final that was yesterday between the GWS and the Swans. All the usual, a nice little change for the quiz as well, a Champions League edition. And rarely does the Sunday team get to operate in finals, but they get their chance today, and no better group equipped for the outing. You got Jay Clark, Ross Lyon, Nathan Brown and Wayne Carey. And I was told during the week that you got to make the most of these situations because every season your team is not the same, Duck. You look at your team in the last game you play of the season, and then you get to the start of the next season, and there's some blokes retired, some blokes disappeared, others taken other opportunities.
Traded.
So I see you here as our captain. I want a firm commitment right off the top that when I hit pre-season next year, you'll be beside me.
No, I'll be here, Howie. I'm good to go.
Fantastic news. I look at my man, the dashing small forward, who's been known to change clubs when the opportunity arises, especially when money comes. He also left for 3AW at one
He's
stage.
a ship jumper.
That's right. He jumps ship. So, Nathan Brown, I need a firm commitment from you.
Firm commitment, Howard. I'm contracted and I need every dollar I can to invest into crypto because it's either make or break in the next 12 months.
Fantastic. And I look at the man to my left. Let's be honest, he's not going to get any other offers. So, Jay Clark, you will be committed to this team next year.
I think you're stuck with me, Howie.
Fantastic. And then I look at our man. We had Rocket. That was magnificent. We had Roosie. That was fantastic. But we've invested heavily, Duck, in this man I'm about to introduce. And now I just need a firm commitment from our man, Ross Lyon, that he will be there pre-season, first session, ready to go next year.
Well, I've got two things to say. I
Yes,
thought
Ross.
it was coincidental that I was next to the ship jumper. But as we deep dive into that, I'm not sure that is the case. And secondly, I know
Yes.
you've given me feedback all year.
Yes.
And, publicly I've said, I like it and I've grown. But
Yes.
you raising your voice at me off air might be something for me to consider.
No, we've had various discussions during the year, and it's all about self-improvement.
Been a real revolving seat, though, that one, hasn't it?
It has been. Rocket's been there. Roosie's been there. We've had all sorts of people there. But we will see what happens.
It's a rebirthing seat.
It is. It is. And it's worked fantastically well for those gentlemen. We've got some serious stuff to discuss. And I don't like to be too serious off the top, but I know a lot of people are listening. I got a call this week, Nathan, from the Carlton Football Club. They said, obviously, you've had a lot of dealing with Ross this year. What type of man is he? What type of person is he? Does he ever yell at you, for example? These type of questions. And I said, listen, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put together a package of some of his work, and I've sent this to Carlton, and the Carlton board have reviewed this. So this is pretty much our putting Ross forward. Whether Ross wants to go forward, I don't know. But this is the Sunday Rubs job application for Ross to move forward at the Blues. And I think this is, irrefutable that he's a man for the job.
Favourite part of the week, the Sunday Rub.
Good.
Being a part-time media person gives me a lift.
Thank you for being a friend.
And Ross Lyon joins us on the Sunday Rub. Hello to you, and welcome along, Ross. Wonderful to have you on board.
Excited to be here. This was the conversation you always wanted to be a part of. In the chariot, stuck in traffic in Punt Road.
I'm not ashamed to say,
Culturally, it's toxic in here.
I hope it always will stay this way.
Who's your hero growing up, Ross?
Rossi, you need to put your headset on to be heard on the wireless, Ross.
I thought we were still off there, Harry.
And if you threw a party,
How much is too much Powerade? Because Ross has got a litre bottle
A bucket full.
of red
Second one
Powerade.
today.
That's nice.
You've had a big night last night, Ross, haven't you?
thank you for being a friend.
That actually makes sense, the contract that come through from Austereo this year, 2020. It actually had a line through special comments. It was just comments.
Thank you for being a friend.
Do you think much about the drawn grand final, or is it something you've tried to push out of your mind?
Only when it's brought up on radio show.
Righto, well, let's get straight into it.
Have no fear, even though it's hard to hear. I will stand here close and say thank you for being a friend.
Harry kicks the goal. Ross, we're pumping him up, but he still hasn't quite realised with his special comments when someone's lining up for goal, it's probably time to zip it.
I thought he kicked it. Mate,
Well, he has now, and our audience understands he's kicked the goal now, Ross.
down Mazaire fans, it was a 50, it was
But
48
the people
out.
on the wireless, they can't see that, Rossi.
Look, I'm a rookie. Just, give me some support, lead me through.
Just
A
stop
little-
talking for a moment, Ross. Harry's kicked the goal.
Thank you for being a friend.
What's it like when you wake up on Sunday after a loss and you know people are coming for you? Like, how do you deal with it? You wake up in the morning and think, don't want to listen to the radio, don't want to read the paper. How do you approach
Well, you're actually ahead of the curve because you actually don't wake up because you haven't slept all night.
Thank you for being a friend.
No. Don't look for conspiracy when all you'll find is stupidity. Some blokes are quick, but they can't play. So,
Thank you for being a friend.
let's say I went back into coaching.
Yeah, let's just say.
I would be rolling into that box at MCG. You wouldn't even have to request me. You could just pencil me in. I'll just wander up.
I tell you what, so I sent that through to the Blues board on Thursday morning. Haven't heard back as yet, so I don't know what that means.
You had some strong comments on David Teagues. Or no, your wife, you love the Ebon
Yeah.
had some strong comments about David Teagues' hair, and that's cost him, Howie.
don't think so.
What's Aaron's feedback been? I noticed Ross is wearing a hat today.
Well, I'm sensitive because my kids on Footy Classified text me, Dad, just saying, fix your hair. Looks like you got a toupee on.
Howie, you haven't had an answer because old Sayers has been on the phone for 45 minutes every day to Ross.
You know, it's only 45 minutes, though. That's the way we like to roll here, Jay. I presume you've got
Yes.
some serious questions to ask. But whatever happens, it is nice to be here to call a final with you gentlemen. And hopefully we can give people a bit of a lift because I saw the case numbers today. And let's just say, let's move on from that.
Yeah, we might be locked in for a while. How has your week been, Ross? Are you
Pretty
allowed
quiet.
to recap?
Quiet. I've become Darren Hinch, the human headline.
You have been. We like to write lots of.
Snort. Because every time he comes on, he says, I'm not going to comment. And then I read the paper the next day, and Ross Lyon says this. And I think back and I think, the man didn't actually say anything yesterday.
Yeah. No, that's fair, Howie. But so you've spoken to Luke, and I don't think we're going to spend too long on this, Ross. But you've spoken to Luke Sayers. Clearly, your hat's in the ring, and Carlton are very excited to have your hat in the ring. Nathan Buckley, we know, is out. What is the next step in this process that you know?
I'm waiting for Luke to loop back. In summary, yeah, Luke reached out, and I said, yeah, I'm keen to go through the process and see if I can step through that and come out the other side. There's no guarantees, and as reported maybe by even you, Clark, in your esteemed paper, the Herald Sun, that they're establishing a process. So I'm waiting for them to loop back.
They've said 30 to 45 days, Howie. As I understand it, could happen a little bit more quickly than that because other than Ross Lyon, it's really unclear if there are any other serious contenders. But it's fair to say after Melbourne's win last night, Ed Langdon, Ross Lyon's former midfield protege, sort of put his foot in it a little bit, Leroy, when he said this, and we'll talk about it on the back of it.
I've come from, 5 years of the Ross Lyon method, so it is absolutely a nice change to have someone as cool, calm and collected as Goody. I don't think I've heard him raise his voice since I've been at the club, so coming over from Freo when, you don't look Ross in the eye in a meeting and he starts yelling at you, that's been a nice change.
And I felt that as well. How you copped the bake this morning, is that right? He sort of gets some strong feedback at times.
Listen, people like myself often need strong feedback, and I'm happy to take it wherever it comes. So, I heard that and I listened to it. There was a chuckle in Ed's voice. I think sometimes the way things are said and the way they are printed can be very, very different things.
Well, I spoke to Melbourne this morning as they were about to take off. So they took the call on the plane from Adelaide going to Perth. I said, can we speak to Ed to get him on the show? And just because it did really sound like he might have put his foot in it. But Melbourne confirmed, Ross, that he'd already touched base with you this morning. Is that right?
Yeah, I was just stretching my chronic hip, and a text come through from Ed, and hey, Ross, not sure if you saw any of the comments I made after the game, but they're taken completely out of context and poorly worded on my behalf. At this point, I haven't listened to them. And then, I've got nothing but love and respect for you. Hope you and the family are well. So I was like, I better Google. And so I Googled it. Probably two things. If it's legitimate and that's what he meant and it was all seriousness, well, I'm on a journey of growth and a growth mindset. I would take the feedback. And in context of that, and Wayne would know, so it's handy that Wayne's here. So I was an apprentice, an assistant under Dennis, and Wayne was coached by Dennis. So really simply, when you're having meetings, it might be a quarter-time huddle. Like you've got 22 grown men, you've got 44, and you're conducting a meeting, and you're probably boring them, but you might think it's really important. And their eyes drift off. And Dennis's saying was, "Gee whiz, son, if your eyes are on me, good chance you're looking at me. Let's just tune in here." So there'd be occasionally, I'd make no apologies for that. When you're up and you're trying to hold someone, to be, look, how about you looking at me? Fair chance. So, but I know Ed, he's really dry. I'm not here to defend myself or Ed. Ed can speak for himself, but that's the context I take it in. He's very dry. And he was one of my favourites. But that does concern me, because imagine the blokes that are off me. What they're
One of your favourites.
Howie, from press conference experiences, I personally know it. I try and avoid his eye line. There'll be times because when they start darting across the room left and right, I try and get out of the way. Now, Brown, I want to bring you and Duck in here for 1 second, because Luke says throughout the week, interesting comment. He said Carlton wants to play finals, or think they are good enough to play finals in 2022. If Ross is the man as we think, and I would say he's $1.02 at this stage, what sort of list does he inherit? And is it a list and a team that should be playing finals next year?
We spoke about this on the All Conquering Sunday Footy Show this morning about Sayers' comments and the fact that he expects to play finals in 2020. I've got no problem with
Say
that.
it again, because more people will hear it.
I think, Jay-Z, that's...
Hang on, Brownie. That was a pretty sharp zinger from Duck there.
He's got one away for 2021, Duck. But you want to hear them talk about playing finals.
Yeah.
And this is a footy club that isn't rebuilding. This is a footy club that has rebuilt already and has players there of the ilk of Cripps and Walsh. And they've got a great spine with Wiedering. And if they can get Cher up, and they've got a really good ruckman coming through, they've got players everywhere. And I said this morning, and I'll say it again, Duck, that if they get Ross Lyon, he is the man. 100% you expect to play finals with that list. I think you'd be disappointed if he didn't play finals next year.
Yep. So to back up what Brownie said, and I actually tipped Carlton to play finals this year. Let's be honest. What were they? 3 games off playing finals footy. I think if Ross Lyon's coach, they play finals footy next year.
But is their midfield? So you look at strengths and weaknesses of the list. We know they've got the
They've
spine.
got the spine.
Have they got the midfield depth? And do they apply?
Well, they've got a pre-season to build on that. They've got picks to build on that.
And a defensive mindset will help the midfield be able to defend. Now,
And also,
the art of... You go, Duck.
No. Well, I thought you know. I thought
I was coming to an end, was I? Just as I was starting to launch into it.
I think there's a number of players at Carlton. You talk about their midfield depth. I think there's a number of players that we thought they were low picks, that we thought were going to go in that direction, and they haven't. So I think there's a number of players that can still come in and be developed more than what they are.
The art of what Ross will bring, and if he does go there, you watch Melbourne last night, and Melbourne defended unbelievably well, but they're not working hard when they're defending. So they've got such a good system that they're not spending any petrol tickets running through the midfield. Brisbane spent all the tickets last night trying to find a gap, trying to then get Melbourne or get the football back, whereas as soon as Melbourne got the footy back from Brisbane, they were fresh. They had fresh legs because of the defensive processes, and I think that's what covers a midfielder down or a lack of depth. And if they can get Chera on top of that, I think it's going to be pretty hard to stop that midfield.
Ross, Luke said that you were excited to throw your hat in the ring.
Yeah, for sure. They've during the year, because I've been hammered on this topic for 2 years now, like virtually 2 years, and I certainly, it wasn't on the agenda, but it's come to my front door. I haven't gone out the front door searching for anything. That's really
banged down your front door.
They've banged down the front door. Theoretically, like with a potential opportunity. So I'm really happy to let the river flow here and see what, where I bob out of it. So it is exciting to think about it. And I've been on record as the reasons why there's been a fair bit of a shift. So look, there's a long way to go in the process. I certainly want to respect the process. It's exciting to be even in the conversation of an AFL club. And I'll just go through the process and see, you're in the hands of the process, really. But you've got to really, it's not something you can do half-baked.
Just on that half-baked, sorry, Clark.
Yeah.
So once you get an idea in your head that you could potentially apply for this position, how much of your normal day-to-day life when you're coming in here and preparing a lot for the radio and you're doing your job with the property group and you're being a father, etc., how much all of a sudden does your mind start to change? Did you watch the footy any differently? And do you start, like, how much are you thinking, right, what do the Blues need to do? What could we do here? What could, how do we solve this problem?
Yeah, it's more intently watching the footy. Make sure you watch every minute, which clearly I hadn't been doing. And looking at it slightly different, watching that game. And Brownie's right, that defensive system of Melbourne enabled them to counterpunch. Brisbane couldn't get through. But we've seen it all year. Like, there's no luck in finals. And you're not looking for anything new. And look, the intensity, every player, there might be one or two that drift, but you got 22 just really laser sharp focus. So that's where the extra intensity comes from, because there's more at the highest level. But, they didn't need to invent it. They played exactly how they played all year, Melbourne. They're fully equipped. So you look at their systems, and I've spoken about how, you need assistants that have been at the strong clubs and want to work with you and to collaborate. Whereas when I went to Fremantle, I just went, which I spoke about last week, this is how we're playing. But now it would be a collaboration and what can we do and sign off and then get to the group. So, but again, it's, it starts, because I'd had the gate down, like the borders were shut. I dropped them like WA Premier drops them. Like as I left WA, I dropped that coaching, so it opens up and you start thinking, and it's more your philosophies and principles that you're hearing to. I spoke to my mentor yesterday, Sean Richardson, for about an hour and a half, who's really helped create the model of pursuing excellence and all that. So, he's starting to have deeper dive conversations with trusted lieutenants.
And do you start, I'm fascinated by this, to how elite people prepare for things.
So this is not your podcast.
No,
Howie.
I know, but it really does.
I love how he drops his voice.
Happy to come on for a fee, Howie.
No. I just it fascinates me. Do you start
real Ray Martin stuff,
writing notes, or is it a doodle here or there, or is it a note, or is it like you starting to draw stuff out? Or what are you doing?
I'm a note man. Put it down.
Probably
thoughts.
doodle wasn't the best. I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I doodle a little bit.
So you start.
I need to go
notes.
buy an Apple Mac so I can. I've got all my thumb drives. That was my biggest mistake. But but there's a long, long way of the process to go here, So, the lid's been taken off, and I've said I'm interested in the process, and I'm waiting for Carlton to loop back.
Okay.
If you coach Carlton round one next year, you're going to play the Triple M commentary inside the box, because I feel like
I might come and watch it from the box if I was lucky enough to get the job, because sort of keep that relaxed tone. And that's why Howie, we love Howie, love his podcast, but that was just a bit unlike the Sunday Rub. It was a bit deep and a bit serious.
Well, it just fascinates me, but I think you do a lot worse than get your sort of special comments from Duck piped straight into your headset.
100%. Well, Terry Wallace did that. He used to tune in to the experts, and look what it did for his career at Richmond.
What did he have, Nate?
He had a guy called Oberon Parak who used to sit up and in the box next to it with the stats guys, and he used to listen to two wirelesses at the same time, and whether it 3AW or Triple M, and he'd get the best special comments from the special comments guys, and then feed them into Terry Wallace just to get a second idea about maybe what the assistant coaches weren't bringing to the table.
Where do you think you'd be getting your best value from, Ross?
I think I've seen both. I love both insights. Brownie's analysis on the Sunday Footy Show, without taking the mick. And the deep dives in there are pretty sharp sometimes. And the Duck brings a real context of understanding of moments and leadership and group dynamics.
And snowboarding
and
and
firelighting.
And he draws cats. When I'm under pressure, where's that cat, Doug?
And just on that, Rossi.
Well, it'll make you laugh. That's what it's there to do.
Yeah, you start drawing them up.
Just on that, Rossi, breaking story on Friday night that Nath is attempting to wedge himself into Triple M cricket. He's doing some run-throughs of cricket because he wants to be a cricket commentator and trying to take other people's jobs, and that's fine. That's the way Nath typically rolls. That's why he left clubs for extra money, etc. But has anyone maybe in this room contacted you saying, listen, if things go the right way, but maybe I'm a forwards coach, or maybe I could help here or there?
No, Brandy did talk about his ability to kick goals and under pressure.
So a goal-kicking style.
Yeah, so
I'll be there once a week from 100.
How many side hustles could you have?
Yeah.
Just a bit of advice. Probably nail this job before you start golf.
He's been good today already, Duck. He's happy. He'll taper off from here.
Yes, we'll take a break, Ross. You've talked us through it nicely. Jay-Z, we got to get on the finals,
Toby.
because that's what we're here for. Toby Green.
Melbourne.
How good was that game yesterday between Sydney and the Giants? How Sydney didn't win that, I still haven't figured it out. That is all just still to come. Ash Hansen, Tim Tarano, Pump Up the Duck, the quiz, Brownies, a lot, so much more to get through. I'll run out of steam. It's only the first segment. McDonald's and Remont Water, Triple M Rocks Footy. The Dogs v Bombers is our game. The elimination final apparently raining quite heavily at UTAS Stadium at the moment. Time now, though, for...
This is Jay-Z's Big Three.
Take it away, Big Daddy.
Yeah, get ready for another week of Toby Green stories. Now, it was an incredible game, the 1-point win to GWS over Sydney. Watched it absolutely enthralled. However, it's Toby Green who's in the headlines and the hot water again for walking into or brushing, bumping, it's been described as, umpire Matt Stevic. Now, as I understand it, the AFL will refer this to the tribunal because it was disrespectful contact, and that is where GWS and Toby Green will challenge whether any contact was made at all with the umpire, because on replay it looks at best a glancing blow, but that will be a case for the tribunal to decide. Now, Matt Stevic, as I understand, is under a huge spotlight here because his evidence will either sink Toby Green or not. If he says, yeah, he came in and I felt the contact and it was a bit of an abrasive sort of conversation, then Toby Green is in big trouble. If he says, no, I didn't really feel anything, I'm not sure if he made contact, then Toby Green is scot-free to play in the semi-final against Geelong. Duck, I know you've probably got a relationship with Toby Green, or you're certainly one of his biggest fans.
I thought Matt Stevic handled it beautifully, by the way. I'm not sure there was much contact, if any contact at all, and I thought the way Matt Stevic handled it and then the way they came together. I'm not a body language expert, but reading that situation, I thought it was handled really well by both, and there was no aggression. Do you agree with that? There didn't seem to be...
No, I think he's got to go, Duck. You can't be walking in umpires like that. And it's duty bound on Stevic for the health of the whole game.
So you think that he's made contact and he did it in an aggressive manner?
Disrespectful, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay,
you can't beeline an
we
umpire.
agreed. I disagree with
on
you.
On the Sunday Footy Show, we discussed it this morning, and I
Hey,
want
Nate.
Toby Green to play,
Nate.
but there's been...
Don't worry about the footy show, mate. You're here on Triple M.
So we
Just
discussed
focus.
it, Howie, and then
Sunday footy show,
we
mate.
hadn't seen the second bit of vision which Duck alerted me to. Have you seen the second bit of vision that's going around
I've
where there seems to be a gap between them? But I think if Matty Stevic has felt body contact, then
It's all on his
There's-
evidence. I agree with that.
there's so many lower leagues, so many umpires who umpire under 10, under 12,
What
like
message does it send, Brownie?
Howie's wife does, that probably need to be supported in this. So Matty Stevic does have a big role to play in it.
What do you think, Ross?
Really uncomfortable with, when I saw it. I'm a Toby Green fan. I've spent some time with him. We all love the way he plays. I don't like the spotlight on Matt Stevic. I would think he's going to have to give evidence, but it's going to go back to the definition. And I don't know him off the top of my head.
Well, it's
They've tightened it up.
disrespectful. Is it disrespectful contact? Now, beelining an umpire, that is absolutely disrespectful. They're sacrosanct.
Oh,
Good
no,
on
no,
that.
no,
His line.
disrespect-
Did he go off? Did he go off his line? Did he?
No, he walked straight.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I
Step
think-
around the umpire.
I think Matt Stevic seemed to turn a little bit, and did Toby turn? Maybe I'm uncomfortable with it. But his intent wouldn't have been to make physical contact with an umpire. Was he pumped? And you saw him in that final. Like you get yourself. It reminded me of Dermot Brereton. That's when he used to go. And just get himself that up that he would be explosive, and that's the state Toby was in, that looked like to me. And that's the state he needs to perform like he did. And you could see him at the end of the game. It's emotional and you're up. Does that discount any contact? I thought he could have moved earlier than he did. So I'm going to sit back and watch this play. I'm very protective of umpires. We can't get enough of them in the junior levels because of
This.
physical threats and abuse. And what happens at AFL level gets modelled below. It's going to be a huge I'm just disappointed that he put himself in that position in his club, because he didn't need to be involved in it at all.
This has happened so many times with Toby. We talk about the Toby tax, the Bontempelli incident, etc., where there was a scratching or contact with the face. How would you be coaching Toby Green? Because these sorts of things, I know he gets the white line fever.
Well, you got to submit to the team's needs, and he's got to strike a little bit more of a balance. You can go over the edge, and look, at times as a coach, like you're fighting that line to protect your tag players, and I can tell when Brayshaw got king hit or whacked off the ball, and it took every part of me. I had players come to me like Bella's going, and I wanted to sort of sanction and go ahead, but I just knew the result for the AFL and the club and the whole shebang would have been an absolute disaster. Me personally, did I want retribution and revenge for Andrew Brayshaw and our club? Yes, but it wasn't the right thing to do. So you got to, and that's what I'd say to Tony. Toby, you got to submit ultimately to the team and the club's needs. Otherwise, you're hurting them ultimately.
Sounds like a coach. Done it, Howie. What do you
Puts
think?
a lot of
It's
pressure
a
on
hard
Leon
one.
Cameron this week as well, having to
Huge.
defend it, having to talk about it. It's just one small thing that they don't want to have to talk about, and Leon's going to be asked about it all week. Every player that goes up for an interview is going to be asked about it all week. There's going to be extra press at their training sessions this
It's fair
week
to
as
say
well.
they're used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just don't need it.
No, I
Do you
know.
reckon he'll be
but-
playing in the final next week, Nate? Toby Green? Do you reckon he'll play?
Well, I'd like to see more of the angle that Duck alerted me to that I hadn't seen before, and it definitely feels like there's a separation. Should Toby have walked around the umpire and stepped around because Matt Stevic was standing there? Yes, he should have stepped around, so we shouldn't be having the conversation.
Your mate Glenn Jakovic Duck said this morning that he should get 12 weeks for it, and that there must be a strong message sent to protect umpires across all levels of the game. And
So
I
if
think,
he made no contact, Jacko thinks he should get 12 weeks, does he?
I think there's some contact.
Come on, Jacko.
Is that what the vision shows? No contact?
It's unclear.
It's unclear.
It's a
I
bit-
think he's more unlikely than likely to be playing.
Interesting.
But 12 weeks, come on, Jacko.
That is a few. Hey, Melbourne,
You might
really
have had a few, Jacko.
Jacko might have had too much lobster.
Melbourne outstanding performance against Brisbane. You touched on it already. It was clinical through the midfield. The defence stood up once again, and now they're in the box seat along with Port Adelaide, hosting a preliminary finals, albeit Melbourne in Perth. Clearly, I want to listen to Simon Goodwin. Then I want to ask you guys about Clayton Oliver because he's making a strong case that he could be the most influential player in the league. But this is Simon Goodwin, the coach of the Melbourne Football Club, talking about playing with the spirit of the Melbourne fans at the moment.
Yeah, look, we felt their support last week. You know, you can see the emotions with the videos that come through to the footy club, after the final siren last week. And again, the lead up to the game, the messages and the outpouring of social media. You can certainly feel the emotion and the proudness that they're carrying for their footy club at the moment. And we are playing for them in a lot of ways. They've suffered over a long period of time. They want a footy team that competes well as often as possible, and that's what we're trying to do for them.
What do you make of Clayton Oliver, Ross? Because we know he's been extraordinary in tight, but his ball use last night was, I don't think we've seen that from him before.
Yeah, he's certainly improved. We spoke about last year, they used to slaughter the ball going in. And they're putting it in at any cost. Now they're methodical, they're composed, and his work without the ball, like when it leaves his area centre bounce, he's chasing and harassing. He's so brave. He's so active in the contest. He's so clean. And he set up a number of goals last night. They're powerful. Like I love watching them play. And Petrarca does some things as well. You go, oh my God! Like they got it all. And they're fully available. They're fully available as a coach. I don't think they've got an injury that they don't really to their best 22, have they?
Well, Luke Jackson got his
he's special too.
Tooth knocked out
Oh boy, wee.
last night.
Just on that, he was definitely already has a fake tooth.
Yes.
So I don't know, was it another tooth or was it the fake ear that got
I believe
knocked
this
out?
is the good tooth.
Oh, right.
But he's re-injured, the bad one, if you know what I mean. But kept playing. See, Howie here, he might have sort of gone into his
I
shell.
loved
don't-
his
you don't-
attitude.
you don't-
Half time, he was giggling
You
a
don't
bit about it. It
mark
was
and mud on your
fantastic.
tooth.
Let's have a listen to Simon Goodwin about the Rising Star winner, the toothless Luke Jackson.
Yeah, he only had one to start with, one of his front ones. So, yeah, we'll have to get it assessed. I think the other one's just hanging a little bit. So the doctors are working, around trying to work out what to do with it. But he'll obviously need some treatment. But the character of the kid was unbelievable. I thought to keep going, to keep playing, to keep competing the way he did, it speaks volumes for him. Obviously he's got some work to do now to fix up his mouth. But he's a quality kid, Jacko.
I did a bit of research this week on your man Luke Jackson because I had to speak to him for the Rising Star, and I got the serious questions out of the way, and then Fox wound me up and said no more questions, so I didn't get to some of the stuff that he likes to do. He wants to be, this man, Nath, a marine biologist from all reports. And
George Costanza.
Well, yes, that's exactly right. Loves his nature and animals and visits the zoo by himself. So he's a bit of a different man and was once known in the middle of a Melbourne Football Club training session to just stop dead in the middle of a training session. This just came from a teammate. And they said, Jacko, what are you doing? And he's like, well, with all this stuff happening with COVID going on, this is the way it was told to me, maybe we need to be exploring outer space for other places to live. So he's a wide-ranging thinker.
Just in the middle of training.
In the middle of training, in the middle of a drill. But I didn't get to ask him any of those questions because we ran out of time.
Yeah, it's interesting, Howie.
Obviously, you didn't think it was, Jay.
All about Howie.
No, I like it, Howie. Gee, he took some special marks last night.
Oh,
though,
no, we got to take a break. We got to take a break. We'll get to the third one.
Jaden Stevenson.
Yes, on his BMX bike.
He's made a boo-boo.
Okay, we'll discuss that. We got Pump Up the Duck. We got Deflate Nate.
What was it, a diamondback or a mongoose?
The trick pegs on the back.
Yeah.
We've also, be fair to say, Ross went pretty hard on former Test cricketer Greg Blewett last week. Bluey has responded. So we need to get
I
to
heard
that
Nathan
as well.
covering that on the Friday night
All
show.
I'll be saying for you, Ross, is I hope that Greg Blewett doesn't get invited onto the Carlton board, because if he does, you ain't getting the job. McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks Footy. Triple M Sunday Rub for Maccas and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks Footy, Mark Howard, Jay Clark, Ross Lyon, Wayne Carey and Nath Brown leading up to the Dogs taking on Essendon. There's been some rain at UTAS as well. We'll update you on that as the afternoon goes on. Ash Hansen's joined us in 15 minutes' time, the Bulldogs forward coach. Jay-Z, we were 2 parts the way through the big three.
You would have thought when Jaden Stevenson essentially got kicked out of Collingwood that was the wake-up call of the reality check that he would have required. He was sensational in that win over West Coast in the wet for North Melbourne, but he now faces surgery after seriously injuring a hip in a mishap at home. So he was having some drinks and then thought it was a good idea to do some tricks on his BMX bike, and he's clearly come a cropper, falling onto a concrete paver. North Melbourne has confirmed. And there was a report in the Herald Sun this morning that Stevenson made some comments in the hospital along the lines of, please don't tell North Melbourne or don't give them the medical report. And that's only emerged this morning. I haven't verified the accuracy of all that, but that is the report in the Sunday Herald Sun. Now, you would have thought, fellas, that North Melbourne and the people around Jaden Stevenson would have been able to get through to him by now, because this is the second chance in his football career that could have helped kick him on. How do you think?
So are you condemning his actions in hurting himself, or are you condemning the fact that he was reportedly not wanting the footy club to know about this?
Oh, no, I'm moving on from that. I'm just saying that, BMX tricks on your bike at home down steps or whatever after a few drinks.
We've all done that, haven't we?
It's normal behaviour.
When you're an elite athlete.
Okay.
He's unlucky. He's put himself into a position to injure himself, but you still got to be able to live your life.
They're in lockdown. They're in lockdown.
Ollie Wines went and water skied. There was a big fuss made about that. People are going to injure themselves. You can't be just putting them in cotton wool the whole time. He's made a mistake. Would we be talking about it as much if it wasn't Jaden Stevenson?
And that's the important context. He needs to be making every post a winner. So BMX tricks off your balcony, not a good idea. Brandy, what do you think, Ross?
Yeah, how old is he?
22.
He's a baby. So he's growing up in the public eye, and we're all constructed differently and mature at different rates. So we understand that he's been working through some of the indulgences that you get and the benefits of AFL footy, or negatives, whichever way, whatever lens you want to put on it. So he's only 22. He's played in grand finals. He's kicked 40 goals in a season, and he's got his second chance, and he's improved. And my understanding, you'd know more about North. I think he carried himself really well. And then what happens, you get to the silly season, he's, one drink, one's too many, 100's not enough, and then you skylark in front of your mates and you hurt yourself. So is it ideal? No. Is it a killer for him? No. But it's that growth mindset, and it's going to take him another couple of years or 2, 3 maybe, because that's his story. He's growing, and that's the thing everyone forgets. They're growing up in the public eye, and they get huge expectation of those AFL players, but in reality, they're young teenage men maturing, and they're going to make mistakes.
And they've been living as we all have, a stressful, lockdown style lifestyle where
He hasn't broken any laws, Jay-Z. He's hurt himself.
He's broken his hip, Duck.
Yeah,
And
well, that's what I said. He's
Yeah,
hurt him.
but-
He's hurt himself.
Is it newsworthy? Yes. Do we want to talk about it? Yes, because we know that's why they get paid.
Stevie J turned out all right. Very similar.
All right, it is time now for, and I like that our man, he puts an enormous amount of research into this, so I'm looking forward to what he is coming up with. It is time for Leroy.
This is Ducks Pump Up.
Now, when you rang me this morning, you had 9 or 10 that you were trying to narrow it down to. I want to know which one you went with in the end.
I had 15 or 20.
That's
actually.
right. I want to know which one you
Well,
narrowed it
I've
down
narrowed
to.
it
Doug.
down, and in the end, I've been excited about all the finals, and I've watched every single final. 2 of them I've done, and last night got home and watched last night's on the couch. But yesterday, my hero, because he's been from the number 1 draft pick, so talk about being under pressure at Melbourne, Jesse Hogan.
Oh, yes.
I think, obviously, had a really good start in his career. He's gone over to Fremantle. He's had some personal issues. I think he's fought through that. I think to get that third chance, and GWS giving him that chance, and you know what? He repaid them in one game yesterday. 6 contested marks, and the piece of play that really stands out, Howie, there was a dump kick out of their defence, and he was on the halfback flank, took the mark, ran down, and then he ended up taking the mark inside forward 50. Yes, he hit the post with 2 of his shots, but the one that he had to kick to make sure that they got the win, he invariably went back and kicked that one. So for me, Jesse Hogan, welcome back to big-time footy. You've won GWS a final, and they live to fight another day. I just think an amazing effort from that man that's been through a lot.
Love it, Duck, and you were instrumental in his career at various stages.
Well, I wouldn't. I'd caught up with him a couple of times when he had his best years.
Did he know who you? Did he know who you were?
Apparently, he walked away with Roosie and Goody, and he sort of, as he was walking away, he said, "He knows a little bit about footy." That guy. They said, so I think Roosie and them told him to go home and
who he was.
put on Google, and then he found a few things that he didn't want to find there.
This is a man, Nate.
In the end,
He's now the best body language expert as well. Earlier on in the program,
This is a man. I'm not sure Clarkey was involved at that stage. When we used to be allowed to leave the state and go to football games, we went to do a GWS game out at Giant Stadium one day.
Yes,
and,
I was there then.
And we were all walking through the concourse together, and Duck was a bit flat, and we eventually got on in. I said, "Mate, what's wrong?" He said, "It's the first time I've ever been to a football ground, and nobody's recognised me." he was so flat about it, Rossi.
well, it's just unusual.
All right,
What's great about this story,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
your
go on.
best one of the year, Duck, is that
Thanks, Jason.
essentially no one wanted
Put a
him
lot
at
of
the end
work
of
into
last year. I mean, the Giants, he was on the AFL scrap heap, and the Giants got him for cheap, and he's made a meaningful contribution. So
Just signed a 1-year extension, by the way.
yeah, so it is as good. He is as good a story in the AFL, I think. It was Marlon Pickett a couple of years ago. I love the Jesse Hogan story.
You coached him, Rossi?
Yeah, I did. Not for long, Howie, but he came to the club. He's a hard trainer. His body let him down. 2 navicular injuries, and they're almost finished James Hird. So that was a real struggle for him, and he had some personal issues to work through. And I think that's what's great about the game. And that's what it's eventually, if you just focus enough and you dig in enough, you get rewarded and you turn people's perceptions.
JC, were you mistaken for Ash Stewart at the Gabba?
Often, multiple times. Every season I get called Ash, I love your stats. Yeah.
Red Zeds with Clarkey.
I can't remember a footy season where I haven't at one stage been shouted out as or been called Ash by
What
someone.
about
on
Alan
footy.
DeGeneres?
I was gonna say-
Hi, Alan.
How he would fit in at Byron Bay with all the other Americans at the minute, Ellen.
I made the joke, and he still went with his joke.
And still
actually
tapped
thought-
you to laugh
I'm the
about
one. I'm the one that first said that, dingbat.
No, you're not.
All right, with all the positive, there's always a negative. That was Pump Up the Duck. It is now time for...
Yeah, it's disappointing, isn't it?
Now it's time. Been pretty ordinary for Deflate Nate.
Come on, you dingbat.
It's a part of the game that has never, ever got any better, and I don't understand it, and it's goal kicking, Howard. And I'll give you some examples.
Yep.
St Kilda in the normal season were the worst converting side. They missed out on the finals by 1 game. Percentage as well, but, if they had been able to kick those goals, and they were very gettable. Second one, Geelong. First 3 set shots the other night in a final. Does it make a difference? I'm not sure. But if they kick those first 3, it was 3 points to 0. They're 3 goals up. You take the crowd out of it. Who knows what might have happened? Port Adelaide were clearly the best side. Geelong couldn't kick their goals. Then again, Sydney yesterday. Bell, Wicks, Hickey. I'm giving Lance Franklin a pass because he's done it before. He missed one as well. So
Didn't look
he's
happy.
been there. He's done that. But I just think that the fitness coaches these days have, too much say in what the players do, how much load they have. And towards the end of my career, they wanted to bring you in. Don't do any extra goal kicking. Don't do this, don't do that, because the load on your body. I think if you are going to be an opportunity to kick a goal, you need to be at least having 100, 200, minimum 200 shots extra per week. And I don't think the players do it. Some of the players don't want to do it or don't want to do the extra. And B, the fitness staff don't allow them to do it.
I reckon that's a job application right there.
Yeah, and also, how'd you get yourself into your own little segment there?
You're just trying to wedge yourself into Carlton in case Ross gets
I'm
a
not
position.
at
You
all.
are.
I am not
You
at all.
are.
Hal.
And
You're
by the
a
way-
snake, and that's the type of thing you would do.
This is ridiculous.
Do we all
That
think
was
Dave's trying to wedge himself
Brownie,
into a position?
Brownie, that was grubby.
Yeah, it was.
And being a
below
left,
you.
and you know what? A left footers can't teach right footers how to kick either.
There you go.
That's a ridiculous statement,
We've
mate.
got to take a break here. Ash Hansen from the Bulldogs to join us. And then the Sunday Rub quiz. It's a Champions League edition. I'll bring the rules to you. The Stock Exchange.
I'm not doing it.
And Timmy Taranto as well. So much to come as we lead up to the Dogs taking on the Bombers in an elimination final. The winner of this game, Jay-Z, plays
Brisbane.
Brisbane. All right, beautiful. McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks football.
Triple M rocks finals footy.
This is the Triple M Sunday Rub for Maccas and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks football. You got Wayne Carey, Nath Brown, Ross Lyon and Jay Clark on a Sunday. Western Bulldogs versus the Essendon Football Club is our game, taking place in about an hour and a half's time at UTAS Stadium. And it's a pleasure always to speak to people involved on game day. The Bulldogs forward coach Ash Hansen is on the line. Mark Howard here. Ash, g'day mate, how you going?
Good, Howie. Yourself?
Yeah, great to speak to you. Firstly, sort of put your Mike Larkin hat on. Give us a weather report of what's occurring at UTAS and what will occur during the game.
Yeah, it's grey, overcast at the moment. Lights have just come on. It's been drizzling probably the last half an hour, but has cleared at the moment. As you know, the ground conditions down here are beautiful. So it's absorbed the water that's come down pretty quickly. So there's dry footies getting pelted around during the warm-up. So hopefully we're in for a pretty clear run at it. But
news.
Could be ominous.
Ash, Jay Clark here, mate. Your coach, Luke Beveridge, has been pretty clear that the midfield has been down over the past 3 weeks. Can you tell us about some of the conversation and work that's gone into that area over the past week?
Yeah, I mean, they've been such an integral part, Jay, of our team this year. And certainly their output has been lower than the standards they've set earlier in the season. And I thought last week was a step forward, but they still probably weren't at their best. There's been a lot of words spoken, but it's all about action now. And those guys are all proud footballers, and I think they've been really waiting for today, since last week. So we're expecting a really strong turnaround.
Do you think you're a team that typically don't tag, but we know Merritt and Parrish are such a key teams that have taken one of them out of the game tend to get over the top of the Bombers. Is any thought in that, or you just stick to your system?
No, we won't start with a tag, Ross. Certainly we've got some really good balance around the contest and we've got some really strong ball winners. The defensive aspect of our game has to be really strong. And as I said, that balance between attack and defence and the layers that our guys can provide away from the contest are going to be really important. But from the coach's box, we'll certainly be monitoring those players. Merritt, best on ground last time with Peter Wright. So we're aware of his ability, and certainly Parrish has had an outstanding year in some big games. So we'll be keeping a close eye on them, but certainly start the way that we've planned.
Ash, you're number one for clearances all year, bar the last 3 weeks where you've been ranked 13. The Bombers routed you in that area last time you played them. What, as a footy club, have you identified has happened with the 3-week patch at the moment compared to how good you were for the rest of the season?
Yeah, we've had a down patch, and a lot of teams, in the top 8 have had periods where they haven't been at their absolute best. And unfortunately for us, ours has coincided on the eve of the finals, which is certainly nothing you plan for, but it's a reality of the situation we find ourselves in. So our stoppage work has been really strong, and it really comes down to probably that first possession, and then the first possession strip off that. So if we haven't won it, our boys have been incredibly intense at being able to strip the opposition and take it, get it back on our terms. So there's certainly some grunt, some intensity in the contest that we've got to rectify today, and there'll be probably a little bit of a shift around structure will hopefully support that.
Ashley, the forwards coach, take us into Aaron Norton's mindset. We know what he's done. He's an up-and-coming superstar, launches himself really well. Take us into his week and how he prepares.
Yeah, he's a really diligent young man that's learned to become a professional, and certainly with Josh Bruce coming on this year has shown him an intensity and a standard to achieve each week, and that's been really great for Aaron to have Josh around. But now it's all been, this time of the year, a lot of recovery. There's certainly been a lot of static hands and skill work that we can get into him to make sure that he's sharp for today. He's really diligent with his film study in understanding his own game and the opportunities that the opposition might provide him. But he's coming into a final where he's fully fit, which has been a change for the previous years, because last year he had the bad facial fracture in the last game of last season up in Cairns, and then the year before he had the knee injury at the end of the second quarter against the Giants. So he's really excited about the opportunity that presents today, and he knows he's an integral part, even though he's still a young man, on the outcome today.
She's been widely touted as one of the best young and up-and-coming assistants in the game. Luke Beveridge has just been so supportive of you over the journey. What is your contract status? Because the man to my left here is taking over Carlton. He's putting together an assistant coaching panel and various structures, and I'm just wondering whether you're available or how committed you are to the kennel.
Don't fall in, Ash.
The man next to me is just assessing some options. So.
Come on, Jay. No, it's very nice to be spoke of that way, and I'm just continuing to put my head down, do a good job, and provide a lot of support to Luke at the moment so we can win finals. So, but I appreciate you doing my CV for me, Jay. It's very nice of you.
I've seen it, mate. We can't afford you. Essendon, tell us about Essendon. What are for our listeners, the two threats that they pose for the Bulldogs and what you need to get control of, in a general sense?
Yep, centre bounce clearance scores. Got to keep those down. Scored 6-2 against us last time. Clearly the differential in the game. There's not so much their clearance differential, but their potency when they do clear the ball. They've been really highly efficient. So it's getting our backs in a really good position and making sure we've got heat around the ball. The last month, they're number one in the competition for their efficiency by hand and foot. So that just reinforces that we have to pressure the ball and not give them good looks, because they are using it really well at the moment. And from stoppage, that's where they're scoring. So let's make it a turnover game, make the stoppage game a bit of a scrap, and I think the game's played in our forward half will give us a really good look.
Well, fantastic. That gives us a good line of sight during the game to monitor that. Well done. Thanks,
just
mate.
As we let you go, Ash, 2006 Premiership player with the West Coast Eagles, your teammate Chris Judd inducted into the Hall of Fame this week. Congratulations to Chrissy. Did some work with us here on a Friday night for a couple of years. Very sharp-witted, very entertaining man. What type of man was Juddy off the field when you were playing with him? Because we know what he could do on the field.
Yeah, no, he's an outstanding young man, just a really mature head as soon as he arrived at West Coast. Highly intelligent, which led to that quirkiness in his personality, which I'm sure you've all got to know.
Yes, a rapper.
A very good rapper, yeah, loved his hip-hop and loved skateboarding as a young man. But no, he was a ripper. We both got drafted at the same time, and he certainly got me questioning my own ability when I hadn't debuted in the first 2 years, and he was winning Brownlows. But I eventually caught up to him and found myself a little niche across half forward, which was exciting to be a part of.
And got a premiership medal with it, mate. We appreciate your time. Best of luck to you and the Bulldogs, and thanks for having a chat with us on Game Day, Ash. Good on you, mate.
No, thanks, Howie. Thanks, guys.
Nice to speak to Ash Hansen.
He was good.
He was a very good player, very good. And it was a good chat too, and I like the fact that we've got something to look at through the game for his comments. And it's come to my attention that Jay-Z, we were speaking about the fact that he'd been mistaken for Ash Stewart at the Gabba a couple of times.
Yes,
and
every venue, really.
More information's come to light that actually one of our own Triple M people mistook him for Ash Stewart as well at one of the functions we have here not that long ago. Richard Champion
he did.
actually thought he was Ash Stewart.
We're having a couple of beers and he was just he's sort of looking at me funny, and then he goes, "Because you do the stats, don't you, mate? Like we used to do the stats, Ash and that." I'm like, "No, that's
thanks, champs.
It's not me, champs."
Up next, we've got to have a listen to what Greg Blewett had to say after Ross just mercilessly attacked him last week, and the Champions League quiz, the quiz like you've never heard it before, the Stock Exchange, then Timmy Taranto to tell us all about the GWS and that amazing game they played against their arch rivals, the Swans, yesterday. From McDonald's and Ream Hot Water leading up to the Dogs and the Bombers, Triple M rocks football.
Rocks Finals Footy.
Tim Taranto not far away from joining us on the Sunday Rub from McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M rocking footy at Western Bulldogs versus Essendon. Now, we weren't expecting, Nate, to get a final. as the Sunday team, but due to the no bye, Sunday final has been put into place, which means we need to do something for the quiz.
Right.
So
okay.
after your dominant performance this year, where you took all before you, we are structuring what we are terming the Champions League quiz, which is Duck, Ross, and Jay-Z all together versus you. And I'm still backing you. So you got to take on the three of them. Have a listen to this.
Nathan Brown is the quizmaster.
Nathan Bock.
Jesus, good. Nath wins.
He just wins.
Brown.
Yes.
Silvani.
Nate wins the quiz.
Every time.
244.
Nate gets him in one of the great comebacks in the history of Australian sport. Oh, Noodles gets it done.
No matter what we throw at him.
Played 282 games.
Brown.
Yes.
Wayne Schwass.
Correct. He's done right. He's beat the duck at being duck.
So now, Brownie takes on everyone.
There's 4 of you here, and I'd comfortably fight 3 of you and win. All right?
This is the Pub Quiz Champions League.
Righto, here we go. Nate, you are taking on the rest. So it
Chance
is
for you to get one back, Duck.
Duck, Ross, and Clarkey, and your buzzer will be the rest. Okay?
Rest.
And you can have a bit of a discussion, a brief discussion each time if one of you comes in, all right? But I'm still backing my man, Brown. All right, Snaith versus the rest. Have you been paying attention? In 6 finals games, how many goals did Nathan Noodles Brown kick?
Brown.
Yes. In 6 games.
6 finals?
Yes.
I kicked...
Come on, how long are you going to give him?
2.
Rest.
I thought that was wrong. You kicked 2.
In 6 finals.
I was a midfielder back then, Howard.
Okay.
Oh, boy. That's... oh, boy.
Righto. Okay.
And no
Well, it's
wonder he
1-0,
got it
Duck.
because it wasn't a lot to remember.
Right.
Can we get Ducks goals finals record?
Well, just hang on. In 23 finals games, how many goals did Wayne the Duck Carey kick?
How many did I kick?
Yes.
Oh, well, rest.
Yes.
No, it's 56.
Brown.
This is going to be a nearest the pin. Brown.
57.
60. This is why he's good. For a bloke that's not very clever, Nate does this really, really well. Okay.
That's the first time Duck's ever undersold himself.
Correct. Come on, the rest. You need to lift. Nearest to the pin, how many finals did Ross Lyon play in?
Brown.
Yes.
Ross played in 3 finals.
Would you like to have a go?
None.
As the rest?
None.
None it was.
Oh, yes.
The rest.
3.
Very optimistic.
Nearest to the pin, how many finals has Ross Lyon
Rest.
coached in?
Nearest to the pin.
Yes.
How many you coached in, Ross?
That's a very good question as I add them up now.
I'd say 3.
Yeah.
I reckon
Geez,
it'd be
you're
about.
giving him.
I reckon it'd be close to 20.
We need an answer.
23.
Okay, 23. What are you going, Nate?
Brown.
Yeah.
I am going to go 22.
It's 20. Nate leads 3-1. He's doing him on the bit, my man. Oh, crikey. Scott Selwood equals Joel Selwood equals, my mistake, Joel Selwood equals Sean Burgoyne for most finals played with 35. Yes.
Michael Tuck.
A list that is topped by Michael Tuck.
Oh.
So they've had their answer? Okay.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
Yes, you
have.
did, Duck.
Oh.
Name, because it was all about you not consulting with your teammates, name the other 2 players in the top 5. So you got Selwood Joel, you got Burgoyne Sean. Now you need to name Michael Tuck. There's 2 others in the top 5 for most finals.
Brown.
Yes.
Most finals,
Oh, come on. He's given himself time to...
Brent Harvey?
No. Harry Taylor and Gordon Coventry with 31 apiece.
Oh, wouldn't
Harry
have that.
Taylor.
31.
Chris Fagan becomes the oldest person to coach in VFL AFL final at 60 years and 66 days. Who is the oldest? So Chris Fagan is the second oldest. Who is the oldest?
Rest.
Now, do you want
Guys, so let's just have a little chat here.
Mick was pretty old when he coached at
The pie.
Carlton. He got a final, didn't he? Guaranteed.
Oh, is it finals or
Yes.
final? How old was Hafey?
Okay, we need an answer now.
Brown.
I'd say
No,
Mick.
no,
I'd say Mick.
Mick.
Malthouse.
Mick Malthouse for you guys. Is
Brown.
incorrect? Yes.
Alan Jeans.
Josh McHale, 66 years and 266 days. Nate leads 3-1. I like a cryptic name game. A current coach's surname, who is also something fans would say after a...
Brown.
Yes.
Bump on.
Luke Beveridge.
No.
Ross.
Hang
Good
on,
one.
hang on. Hang
No,
on.
no,
Yeah.
we can hear it. No, we can hear the rest. Come on.
I got it right. Don't worry about
And no, he didn't answer
Our
correctly.
current
He said
coach's
Ross
surname, which is also something fans would say after a victorious match. What did you say, Ross?
Good win.
Yes, good win. Well done, Rossi.
Duck's trying to talk you out of a point.
Well, in fairness, he hasn't got a lot of confidence or past performance.
I said, what I said was, because he said Ross, you can't take that because it's rest.
A current West
rest.
Coast Eagle whose surname can be defined as an unintentional act.
Bram.
Yes.
Gaff.
Yes. Blunder or remark causing embarrassment. Andrew Gaff. Nate leads 4-2. Guess the year. In this year, the greatest winning margin record was broken twice. 178 points, then 190 points.
Bram.
Yes.
1978.
No.
Rest.
Ross.
Hang on. Peter Moore wins the Brownlow medal, and a helpful hand from Wayne Harms wins Carlton the premiership.
70-something.
If they want to buzz in, just let them answer
1979.
It is 1979.
it. I was 1 year off.
4 plays 3. You were, Nate, but that doesn't really help.
Hey, guess
you.
what?
Okay.
4-1
We're playing closest to the pin on
All
that.
you need here is the players named involved. I'm going to play you some pieces of audio, all famous finals moments, okay? And you got to be the
tackle by Morris. Goal!
Bram.
Yes.
Lance Franklin gets tackled and then kicks a goal is the big forward, and his name was Dale Morris lays a big tackle.
Yes.
And
Three,
Rest.
two,
Rest.
You're
Tom
out.
Boyd. Tom Boyd.
Tom Boyd.
Tom Boyd. I got it
was
just
too late.
before the buzz.
He took way too.
I got it just before.
It was the rest, 4 apiece. Tom Boyd it was. Second piece of audio.
What a finish. Any score. Otherwise, we play
Rest.
extra time.
Yes. Do you want to chat with your mates or not?
Do you reckon that's Tony Lockett, the point after the siren?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
It is. Let them have a listen to it because it's good audio.
What a finish. Any score. Otherwise, we play extra time. The most important kick of his career. Any score will do. He kicks. They're into the grand final. Sydney.
We've got way to numbers going here.
got the
Duck,
Tom
Ross,
Boyd
and
one
come on,
before as well.
Jay-Z.
How good was Sandy Roberts?
He's
What a
great.
star.
I got
Yeah.
the Tom Boyd one before as
You
well.
got to love Sandy. If you want to know more about Sandy, you can hear him on the Howie Games recent episode. Okay.
Leanne.
Yes, and that's discussed in detail. Third bit of audio.
Can't get to him. Schofield went to him.
JJ.
Puopolo to the ground.
The rest, you mean? Do you want to chat with your teammates or not?
The Puopolo threw me. That's when Luke Hodge kicked the goal from the boundary line.
It is. Play it.
Gee whiz.
Can't get to him. Schofield went to him. Puopolo to the ground and for Stan. Banana! Bugger! Grand final superstar brings the house down.
6 plays 2. 6 plays 4 now, Nath.
Should be
This
5-all.
next bit of audio.
Well, he's had a rock and rolling season.
Yes.
That's Billy Brownless kicking the goal
It
after
is.
the
It
siren.
sounds like Sandy again. Let's hear it, Leroy.
Well, he's had a rock and rolling season. Down and out, and back he comes. Can he finish it off with a goal? You are king of Geelong.
It is a gun, Sandy, an absolute gun. And the final bit of audio.
What can he do from this pocket? Set
JJ.
shot, left footer.
Dom Sheed.
It is Dom Sheed.
Very good.
Let's have a listen, Leroy.
What can he do from this pocket? Set shot, left footer. It is good. That is incredible. That is unbelievable.
7 plays 5. The rest leading Nath at the moment, but Nath's very good at the Who Am I's. Firstly, general knowledge. Which club did Essendon's last finals win
JJ.
come against?
Melbourne.
It was.
Very good.
Now 8-5, Nate. Focus. You can do this, Nathan. You're a big game player that kicked 2
No,
goals
he's
in
not.
6 finals.
Kicked 2 goals.
I was a midfielder back then.
Nearest to the pin. In what year did Essendon last win a
JJ.
final
2004.
without Kevin Sheedy as coach?
He's already answered.
It's nearest to the pin, Nate.
But he's already answered.
No,
Yeah,
it's
so that-
Kevin
he's-
Sheedy.
2004.
So it's your
He said
go.
2004.
In what year
Come on.
is the question?
Okay. So he said
Come on.
2004.
No, stop
Yes.
giving
I'm
yourself
going
time
to say
to think.
2003.
It was 2004. Nate gets that. Hang on.
No, he
Hang
said
on, hang on.
2004.
I
did
said
he?
2004.
Okay, sorry, he's right.
Who
So-
coached him in 2004?
I'm right, Howard.
Hang on.
Quite the
They
same.
lost in 2004.
Can you repeat the question, Mark?
No, they beat Melbourne.
Yeah, no, the answer
Howie
is
stuffed it.
1968.
Which
No
is
Correct.
closer to 2003 than 2004.
Yes, it is. That's
Correct.
why I gave it to Nath. So Nath's on
I think you
6.
stuffed the question out.
Yeah.
No, Nath's on 7. The rest are on 9. You need to answer as the rest, not JJ.
I feel like that was a missed deal.
In what year did the Western Bulldogs last win a finals game? Brown.
2016.
It was with the grand final win. Tightening up now. 7 plays 8. Who has kicked the most goals in a finals game for Footscray or the Western Bulldogs?
Brown.
Yes.
Most goals for Footscray in a final
Yes.
is...
Yes.
Oh, come on. How long? Go. Boom, boom.
3,
Rest.
2,
Rest.
1.
Rest.
No.
Well,
Rest.
could it be
Chris Grant?
Could it be
Beasley?
Beasley? Could
Edmund?
it be Beasley?
Edmund.
Beasley, I reckon.
Beasley.
Danny Delray, 8 goals versus Geelong in a 92
Danny.
qualifying final. 7
never
plays,
have got
8. The rest lead by 1. In that same game, how many goals did Billy Brownless kick against the Bulldogs? Yes.
I reckon he kicked.
Against the Bulldogs.
Did he kick? You know when he kicked that goal that we were just talking about? Was that 4?
Oh,
5?
yeah, about that.
5?
Brown.
5.
Yeah.
9.
9 it was.
You know, he kicked 63 goals in 17 finals, Billy.
Yeah, I know.
That's a big record.
Mate, he downplays it. He had a great finals record. Just not big. Yeah, he did.
It is now Nath 8, the rest 8. And we come to the Who Am I? You only get one crack as a
Trio.
threesome. Yes. As the
throuple.
Is it a triumvirate?
We should get a. We should all get a crack.
Yeah, but you don't, Duck.
Or
So,
a thruple.
okay. Once you guess, you can't guess again. Here we go. I was born January 30, 1987, and played 317 games for 2 clubs. It's all square at the moment on 8 apiece. I'm a multiple Coleman medalist and All-Australian. I'm a 2-time premiership player for the
Brown.
for the
Lance
win.
Franklin.
For the win. He's too good. And he's got a real smug as anything look on his face too, our man. A
You've
very
won bugger
smug
all
look.
this year, Duck, by the way.
We're going to take a break. We are going to get to this Greg Blewett situation. It's still building. Brownie Stock Exchange, Timmy Taranto, not too far away. Well done, Nate. Western Bulldogs versus Essendon from UTAS coming up as well. From McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks Footy. It is time for the cult segment known as Brownie Stock Exchange.
Brownies! You only lose when you sell.
Stock Exchange.
Okay,
All right.
Nate.
Let's get straight into it, Howie.
Okay, mate.
Quick, sharp ones today.
Righto.
Clayton Oliver is the best midfielder in the game. Start with you, Howard.
Bye.
On form by.
Hold.
Old.
Who have you got ahead of him?
I like Petraka last night.
Duck?
Oh, he's in the conversation.
Yeah, he's in the conversation.
Okay.
The Ashes will go ahead.
Bye.
Bye.
Hold.
David King said Jake Stringer missing out on on the All-Australian was the biggest error in All-Australian history.
Bye. Along with Boak.
Hold.
But
How could he not be in?
Was
He
Boak-
dominated half a season.
Is it, do you have to nominate? Does the club have to nominate
I
players?
think they
Did-
just make that up.
Did I read that Boak wasn't nominated?
Yeah,
or have
but
I
that
got
doesn't
wrong?
stop you from being
Okay.
picked.
Okay.
How does he not get in?
Yeah, it's hard
He
to
should have
fathom,
been.
isn't it?
But Papley got his spot, and do you need to have a small forward in your Australian team?
They don't have wingers. How about you have the most explosive player in the game for the last 13 weeks?
He should, I feel like he
I'm
should
not
be
sure
in.
it's the whole history.
And they're saying he
in the
didn't play
history
well
of all
early.
Australian, but certainly this year it was the biggest one for this year by far.
What about our man Maxie was captain too? Sunday Rub's own.
I predicted that.
We called that.
Jimmy Anderson is a better bowler than Glenn McGrath.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Bye.
Hold.
Well, I'm not a cricket expert, so I'm going with ours. Howie's a boy, I'm a boy.
Yeah, I'm holding because I haven't
Better
looked
than
at-
Glenn McGrath.
pretty
Because of
good.
his longevity.
Okay.
The only fast bowler's taken 600 plus wickets.
And gets Veer out every time.
Yeah.
Virat's in a slump.
So last night, I'm going to delay you for a moment, but there was a lot to watch with the on Fox with the cricket.
Notice
the rugby
Brownie's
league.
bringing in a couple of cricket questions because he
the-
wants to be a
correct.
commentator.
The Melbourne Storm was on. The Formula One practice was on. I was watching baseball as well. Unfortunately, the Storm got beaten. And my young bloke, he loves his cricket. I said, right, sit here for 10 minutes and watch and learn from Virat Kohli because you don't get to see this bloke bat very often. You're normally in bed. We turn it on. We flick to the cricket. Next ball, Kohli caught first slip route. I said, oh, he's not that good, Dad.
Has he not scored a ton in 50 innings, I think.
Oh, it's been a while, but
But he's
Virat
dropped
Kohli's
down to
Virat
that
Kohli.
10%, mate.
Yeah, he's okay.
Sorry, Brennan.
Sorry, mate.
Going on previous press interviews by players, it is imperative that you look Ross Lyon in the eye.
Bye.
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 Strong bye.
Bye. Big
should.
bye.
Crocodile Dundee is the greatest Australian movie of all time.
Oh, well, yeah, it's got to be up there, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm buying
The
that.
Castles.
Sell.
Yeah, sell.
So,
I want you to listen to this audio of Luke Jackson.
And then last night we had some mince with just tomato, which was no good. So
So that was his pre-game meal. That's what he gets served up with the family he lives with.
Sticks Brayshaw, James's brother.
James's brother.
Mince.
So,
Mince.
mince?
Right.
Just mince?
Was it? Well, they
with some sliced tomato on the side.
Was it in a taco?
No, just mince on the plate. Just mince with some sliced
what's
tomato.
James doing with the club subsidy money?
I don't know.
That should be I fill it.
Just
They're
mince.
Who
walking
does
out.
he live with? Who's preparing this for him?
Brayshaw's brother.
Okay.
Mark Brayshaw.
Right, so what's your question?
Can you be serving up mince and tomato
Sell.
for a man who's just won the Rising Star?
Sell.
No, I'm by because Deb Brayshaw's got it right if you look at the
No, she's
family,
away.
so-
She's away at the moment. She's in Perth.
Sticks, lift your game.
Yeah.
Listen to this audio of Aaron Norton.
I've heard from a lot of sources, like I said, we've got birds everywhere here, that you often will walk around the kennel referring to yourself in third person as the duck, and you say the duck has sticky hands.
Yeah, very. I can't fault it. That's facts. You've got some reliable sources around the club. Can't deny it.
Aaron Norton comparing himself to the duck.
I like it.
Would you buy it, you hold it, or you sell it?
I love the way he goes about it.
Bye.
He's
If he picks up his ground level footy, we might be able to have him in the conversation.
Where'd you get the audio from? Sound like Dylan Friends, so give him a plug.
That was Dylan Friends. That's where I got it from.
Right. Good
Really
podcast.
good merchandise,
Good
Dylan Friends.
podcast,
I
yes.
noticed you've brought out merchandise
Yes.
recently.
Just jump on howygames.com. You can buy that. But I wasn't doing it for that reason. I was saying he does a great podcast.
What
so
sort
check it out.
of what sort of picture do you have for Howie Games?
We've got a logo duck, howygames.com. You can jump on. You can buy your T-shirts, your jumpers, full works, everything.
Yeah. Is it sort of quality stuff? Will it shrink in the wash?
No, high quality. But I got a couple extra smalls for your arms,
thank
so
you.
you'll be fine.
As Jay-Z knows, the press conference is always a little bit of a testy one, and we heard last week Tom Brown asked the first question to to Luke Beveridge, and it wasn't a great question, but after the GWS Sydney game, here is the first question to John Longmire.
So what were the thoughts about the whole Tasmanian experience? What did you think of the stadium?
We just lost the final by a point. We have another question.
What did you think of the Tasmanian experience? What did you think of the stadium and the whole bit?
Mate, you there? Can we talk about the footy for a second?
He doubled down on the question.
That's unbelievable.
Was he a journalist or he gate crashed you?
Just some dude who got the Zoom password login and he thought he'd throw a couple
I
in.
reckon he could have thrown out what's your name there, horse.
You get down to Burnie and taste some of our produce, John.
What's your question, Nate?
I love
Are
the
you
fresh
buying,
and
holding, or
one.
selling it?
I'm
selling
selling
that.
that
That's
bloke.
a sell of the year.
Selling
That's
that bloke. Come on.
unbelievable. Well handled, though, horse.
Yes.
Brian Taylor needed to be airlifted to hospital.
Sell.
That's sell. I mean, and then be working 2 days later. Seriously. You know what? His eyelashes got burnt. That's it.
What did? Thankfully he's okay. What did happen? I didn't.
Was it a peel that went wrong, Doug? Was it?
He was no. He had there was a gas explosion.
Oh, right,
He went
that's
down.
nasty.
He thought he'd cleaned the lines out, and the gas was sitting in a pocket, and he went down, and it blew up. He was very lucky, actually.
Very lucky. Okay.
But he wasn't seriously hurt. But they soon realised once they airlifted him there and had 40 people around him for about 10 seconds, and then realised he's going to be okay.
Speaking of
And by the way, it
people,
was a double propeller job. They had to get it from where is it?
The RAF
Snowy
base.
River?
No.
Wodonga RAF base, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
they had to get an army helicopter.
so speaking of many
Not a
nurses,
normal
Was he in the net?
Hang on, why do they need to
Puckapunyal.
get, why do they need to get one
Because
like
the
that?
other ones couldn't carry him.
Did they put him in the chopper or they had him in the net?
Hang on.
the whale net.
So you're saying the regulation chopper couldn't carry the kilos? This is what you're saying.
Puckapunyal, they had to ring Puckapunyal.
It's Paul Punker.
It's Puckapunyal,
He'll
mate.
puckapunyal you when he gets hold of you.
Let me try.
Speaking of nurses and doctors and making a fuss, Duck is always Horses for courses. The stars get treated better whether you're inside a footy club, whether you go to a restaurant, you're outside of the football club. And I'm just going to ask you a question whether that's the way it should be, because Dustin Martin in hospital after the issues he had nurses, doctors everywhere. There would have been 20 to 25 people in his room. Nick Holman went in with a perforated lung, hasn't even seen one nurse, one doctor in the very same hospital.
Hopefully he's okay.
Are we buying, holding or selling the fact that stars get preferential treatment?
Buy.
Yeah, buy.
Strong buy.
All strong buyers on that one. Rules for some, rules for others.
Greg Williams is the Carlton Football Club director.
Yeah, what about it? Buy.
He's a good appointment, that's the last one.
buy.
You asking me?
Yes.
Very, very strong buy.
That's why I put it in.
And I think the evidence we saw of him on a Friday night huddled when he stayed around afterwards and just had half a glass of red wine with us, I'm a massive buy on that man.
Ripping fella.
Massive buy.
The last one, the Melbourne Storm lost last night for the first time you can remember. The Storm can't win the NRL Premiership.
Sell.
Okay.
The Fox did his hammy last night, though.
The Fox?
Yeah, Josh Addo-Carr.
Oh, did he do his?
He did his string last night.
Oh, so is he out for the? He's out for all the finals.
No, not out for all the finals. He just did his hamstring.
It's going to be hard to get back for the
big
grand
hammy,
final.
was it?
It's a hammy.
Well, no, hang on. It wasn't even a final last night. They've got a final round next week, and then the finals start. So he's got a fair bit of time before the grand final comes around.
Maybe if they go deep, obviously.
Well, they'll go deep. It's the mighty Melbourne Storm. We're going to take a break. We've still got to get to Greg Blewett as well.
So that wasn't a final last night?
No, it was not a final. It was just a regulation home and away game. You might... You're trying to sneak a job on the rugby league commentary as well.
Can you just put up on your computer how he's clothing for how he goes?
I will,
Yeah, put her up.
I want to look at the design.
His logo is a paperclip.
Is it? A piece of paper?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
See, non-funny blokes should never try and be funny. Tim Durando joins us next. He's a star for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks Football.
Finals footy.
Bulldogs versus Essendon is the game coming your way at 3:20, so in about 55 minutes' time. Duck, you've had a look at the merchandise on Howie Games.
Yeah, I like it, Howie.
Are
Yes,
you in?
Yep, I'm in.
All right,
I'm in.
I'll
I'll
sort that
purchase
out.
some.
I'll get you a hat and a little jumper and maybe some tight T-shirts as well. Our next guest doesn't need merchandise because he is a star and he was involved in one of the great finals yesterday between the Giants and the Swans. His name is Tim Taranto. Have a listen to this gear.
The clock's going to tick down. It's ticking as we speak. Down to 4 seconds, so they will win it from here, GWS.
What the hell?
And Toby Green on the siren. It's the GWS by 1 point. Unbelievable scenes. Toby Green's the man.
Ridiculous.
They beat the Swans. There's bodies lying everywhere. And the Giants continue their miraculous season.
Extraordinary game of football. Our guest, 25 disposals and a goal. He is coming to us from Barnbougle, where hopefully the line is okay. Mark Howard here, Timmy Duranto. Thanks for joining us. How are you today, Tim?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, boys. How you going?
Hey, great to have us on. Your immediate thought as the siren sounded yesterday, and thanks to the entertainment for all of us down here in lockdown. It gave us a lift to see such a great game of footy, mate.
Yeah, it was incredible. Nerve-wracking times, I'm sure, for everyone watching and for us too. Just huge relief to pull another close game win. So, yeah, absolutely stoked.
We were talking earlier about Jesse Hogan, and just I think we're all wrapped for him, Tim, and the whole AFL story is his resurrection. How important has he been for you providing a target?
Yeah, huge. Just gives us comfortability knowing that we've got that bailout option and a big body in Jesse down the line to take some big marks and then go forward 52. And the way he's gone about it, he's come to the club, it's just been really good. And looks like he's having a great time, and I just love playing with him too.
Tim, your own game. Sometimes you play forward like you did a few weeks ago and you kicked 4, I think, early and were on fire. Yesterday, more midfield time. Where do you like to play?
I guess I think I'm a midfielder that can go forward, so either one really. I'd like to spend most of my time in the midfield, but I also like spending time forward, so it's kind of whatever the team needs really.
Tim, what was the focus to take off the Swans? What was their strength? We know they were really attacking and run and overlap. What was the focus for you guys going in, and what did you achieve?
Probably didn't achieve what we wanted to be honest. Their turnover game's obviously really good. So we kind of went into the game wanting to create as many stoppages and keep it in a contest because we knew we'd probably get them in that area, which we did. But we probably didn't stop them at rebounding the footy as quickly, and then we put our backs under immense pressure at times. I think they had 20 more inside 50. So, to be honest, didn't really get it done in that area of the game, but we were lucky enough to just hold on. So, it wasn't an unreal performance from us, but winning a game like that in a tough finals game is obviously a massive piece for us.
Hey, Tim, Big Mummy, I thought he competed really, really hard yesterday. What's he like to sit at his feet? Is he a big talker?
Yeah, he's pretty. He is pretty. Loves to communicate, I guess, and that's something that we love about him. Just that leadership and just that voice around stoppages and around the contest, and then obviously his physicality is huge for us. And for him to just keep backing him up, I don't know how he's doing it, but it's a credit to him, and we love playing with Mummy.
Just on Mummy, is it true that Mummy's Jesse Hogan's moved in with Mummy out the back, and he's sort of taken him under his wing?
Yeah, he's got like a nice little granny flat out at the back, Mummy. So Jesse moved in there earlier this year, and yeah, it definitely helped him adjust to a new life in Sydney. And he's kind of moved in as one of the older brothers of Mummy's kids. So he's kind of been taken in with that family, with Ezra and Mummy. And yeah, that really helped him adjust to the new life. So it's been great for Jesse and Mummy.
Tim, how's Toby? He's obviously under the AFL spotlight at the moment and will be for the next few days after the incident with the umpire. Have you guys addressed that with him, and how's he travelling at the moment?
Yeah, we just had lunch with him. Yeah, he seems all right. Not sure what the outcome's going to be. We didn't really speak about it at all. No one's really spoken about it. I'm sure he's having conversations with the right people, but yeah, hopefully he gets off. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I haven't been looking into it much, but we're just going to hope for the best. That's all we can do.
We're talking about his, the white line fever and the competitive edge, and what we love about him on the field, because he seems like a man for, for the big moment. Can you tell us about the impact and the influence he has on the field? What is it like playing with this man?
Yeah, he's probably the best teammate I think I've ever played with. Just his passion and his love for the game and for his teammates and for winning is just second to none. Like, there's no one else like him, and he'll just do whatever he can to get you over the line. So, love playing with Toby, and I'm sure everyone loves watching him because he plays for everyone else and gives absolutely everything. So, hopefully, he can get off his feet.
Timmy, just if we saw Cameron left, went to Geelong, you had a struggling year in the hub and on the road, and a few of us are thinking, geez, are you going to fall away? You still had your midfielders, but how have you got it done? And we know that young defence, and how have you made that gel? And what's been the catalyst? Because you went down to Tassie and you lost to North, and but your ability to turn around in the last third of the season has been incredible, and overcome all those challenges.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Kind of coming into this year, there was a little bit of doubt around us, and even probably with ourselves, we weren't sure how it was going to turn out. I guess we filled some holes with some young talent and some youth who have played really well. That back line especially has been incredible, and just to see some development in Isaac Cumming and Sam Taylor, Connor Iden, a few of those boys just be incredible. But we knew we still had a good list and a good game plan to challenge. So, we haven't been super consistent all year, to be honest. As you said, we lost a couple of games we probably should have won, but I think we've just found our straps at the right time in the last month or two. So hopefully we can keep that rolling.
It's been a brilliant turnaround, considering you're 0-3 and being written off pretty heavily at the start of the season. I think you've done super well. But the big question, how much golf are you allowed to play? So you're at Barnburgle, one of Australia's best courses. Are you allowed to get the sticks out or not, Tim?
Yeah, there's half the teams out at the moment. It's raining and 6 degrees here, but the boys are still out having a play on one of the best courses in the country. So, great. It's a really nice spot here. We've got some nice villas, and the course is obviously immaculate, so loving it.
Timmy, I've noticed there's more and more tattoos getting on those legs of yours. How deep are you going? How heavy are you going to go? Is it going to be a full-body Dane Swan, Dustin Martin type outfit, or have you done?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. Tattoo shops haven't been open for a while, so I just might wait till everything opens up again and then make a decision, but pretty happy at the moment just where it's at.
And what are you into away from footy, Timmy? We don't get the pleasure of speaking to you too often. What else goes on in the normal world in which we're not living? What do you like to do with yourself?
I'm doing a bit of uni, studying some business at university, and I guess back in Sydney I just go to the beach whenever I can. Enjoy the weather and the lovely beaches, play a bit of golf. Just enjoy the time with the boys.
Girlfriend?
No girlfriend.
Could I ask one question? What does it do when Josh Kelly signs and stays? What does it do for the morale of the group and the belief you're going forward and, you're on the right path?
Yeah, lots. Josh signed, Sam Taylor signing, a few other boys have signed on, the young fellas are going well. It just shows we're heading in the right direction, and people are happy with the way the culture is, and I think we're just moving in the right direction. So just does heaps for him. Obviously, we're stoked to have him, and just for the club, just loving it. Everyone's loving their time here at the Giants.
Hey, Timmy, we appreciate your time. We'll let you go and have a hit on the course, mate, and we will speak to you soon. Best of luck moving forward in the finals. You take on the Cats, which will be a cracker, and you've had a good recent result against them. Thanks for having a chat with us, Timmy.
Thanks, boys. Cheers, everyone.
Timmy Taranto from the Giants.
How do you think the girlfriend question went down?
Oh, not that well.
I thought that was
It's
silly
an
question.
unusual. Yeah, I thought
He
it was a
thrives
silly
in the
question.
awkward spaces at times.
Yeah, awkward and Nath go together like peanut butter and jelly. Western Bulldogs versus Essendon is our game. Our good mate Jared Timms always dominates on a Sunday. Joins us from Ned's. Hello, Timsy.
G'day, guys. How are you all?
We're good, big horse. How are you?
Very well. Favourite segue of the season so far. Thank you, Howie.
That's it, mate. Update head-to-head and line markets, please, Big Daddy.
Yeah, no real surprises in match betting today, guys. Good interest for the Bulldogs all week. They're into $1.53 this afternoon. $2.55 about the Dons. We're up with $2 lines at 10.5 points.
Timsy, first goal market, I'm thinking Aaron Norton.
Yeah, it's a pretty even affair all the way down despite those head-to-head prices, but that man, Aaron Norton, is our $8.50 favourite. He leads Jake Stringer $9. Peter Wright and Cody Waitman, I beg your pardon, sorry, I'm falling over myself here, $10. Tim English, Alec Waterman, $13.
Timsy, pick yourself up, mate. Can you find us any other value today?
Let's have a crack at the same game, multi. I think the Bulldogs are going to cover the line. I think Aaron Norton's going to kick the first. I think we're going over 154.5, $24.96.
Good on you, Timsy. Appreciate your time, mate. That is it for us on a Sunday. We appreciate your assistance and your input and your good humour all year. Thanks for having a chat with us once again on the Sunday Rub, mate.
Thanks, boys. Good luck, punters.
Jared Timms from Neds. Remember to gamble responsibly.
Saved his best throw to last.
Yes, he did. He did. Nate, you caught something on the Triple M Harvey Norman replay screen that was making you chuckle. What did you see up there?
It just looked like Luke Hodge on the coverage. A big jacket. I don't know whether it was meant for him or a larger man, but it was a big jacket, wasn't it?
I would say that Luke Hodge is a massive figure in the game.
Yeah, so would I. He can wear whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned. Hey, we'll take a break. Then finally, we're going to get to the Bluey. Ross Lyon. You reckon Ed Langdon had a crack at him? Well, wait to hear what our man has got to say, Bluey, after he was savage last week.
Bring it on, Bluey.
On the Sunday Rub for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. The game is the game. Well, how far away is the game? Still 33 minutes away. Oh, that's great news. Got time for lots more content. McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Start the game. Triple M Rocks Footy. Just in the middle of a Sunday call last week, we were pumping up Greg Blewett, and I thought he was a fine Test cricketer. And then his numbers came up, and Ross was quite venomous. I felt, Clarkie, in the call last week.
Yeah, he's got high standards and high expectations, and the Centurion, the South Australian Centurion, just didn't feel like he really met
I don't
them.
think venom suits what he was. I think he was just stating facts.
Okay, well,
Harsh but accurate.
This is what Ross had to say.
I'm not backing away. I don't care what you come up with, Greg.
Okay, well let's have a listen then.
46 Test matches.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's good.
For Greg Blewett. Batting average of 34.
How many hundreds, Ash?
400s. First 4 innings for Blewett, 2 centuries.
There you go.
Yeah, and then what? 2 in the next 44.
How many blokes do you reckon scored hundreds in their first 2 Test matches?
4?
So there's 2 others. So Greg Blewett is alongside Doug Walters and Bill Ponsford.
Billy Ponsford, 29 Tests, 700s.
Okay.
That's a strike rate of over 20% for the hundreds. And Dougie Walters, 15 in 74. What would that give us? 10. That's another 20%. Your man's down about 8%.
Now I hear that a second time. I think that's what the Blues need. I really do think that's what the Blues need, some direct feedback. It got across the border to our man, Bluey, who was shell-shocked during the week. This is what he had to say.
Listen to that. That's 299s as well.
No, they don't count.
They don't count.
If you capitulate in the 90s, they don't count.
Mentally, you're very unstable.
If you're mentally weak, they don't count.
How many games has Ross Lyon coached?
Plenty.
Lots. How many premierships?
None.
None. Right. Donut.
3 grand finals.
Oh, be careful.
3 grand finals.
He's a builder.
He builds things.
No, but I think he's right. Like, just didn't quite nail it.
It sounds like his his co-hosts were very much in agreement with you, Rossi. That's the first time I'd actually heard that. With that,
It was Bernard Vince, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and
it was
Jars,
Bernie and
Jars,
Jars
Jars,
as well.
and
Jars.
Jars to
Okay,
have a
we'll
bit of
count
fun.
99s now. I had a look. Doug Wilder's had 15 99s.
We did the top 5 group blew it the other night. It was very good.
It went down well. Now, Clarkie, we didn't really get a chance to talk about, although we spoke to Tim Taranto, that game of football yesterday. I did mention to Tim that half the country, or let's say 3/4 of the country in lockdown, to sit down and watch a ripping final like that gave me a bit of a lift at home. It was just a stunning game of football. I think Sydney had the last 9 scoring shots. Did they still couldn't quite pinch it? Extraordinary game.
Yeah, held them out. I mean, there's a really nice rivalry building between those clubs, and you take your hat off to the GWS Giants. I think Sam Taylor is a special key defender. Like he has been, I think they picked him 54 or something. Adrian Caruso, extraordinary pick. He's a man who's holding that back line together. And, we talk about all Australians before. He's surely not far off that honour, boys.
Well, I don't think there's anybody that's reading the ball as well as him at the moment. So you can go to Lever and May, and Lever and May sometimes play third man in. So they're doing it from a position of being on their own, whereas Taylor's doing it from standing on somebody like a Franklin or a Hawkins the other couple of weeks, and then he's reading the ball and beating them to it, not third man in on his own. So it's extraordinary.
So quick, himself, doesn't he? And coming off that severe illness, they really missed him last year.
Can I ask a question about Geelong, boys? Do you think Ross, how would you address their finals record? Because they've 8 losses out of 9 first week finals. Chris Scott keeps...
Yeah, I just go back to my fundamental philosophy is that past results don't count. It's what you do next.
So you don't address
You can
that.
learn from them. But I think Chris was saying, like, if you go back to 2012 and 13, there's maybe one player playing, or, majority of the teams changed.
They were very fumbly, Ross.
No, but that's a different question. I'm not saying they didn't fumble. I'm just saying...
So the question is Geelong's first week finals record...
Well, I saw it come up before. It's
out.
not ideal. They're 1 out of 7. So there's got to be something in preparation that you may need to improve. And I think Chris would acknowledge that. I think it highlights the importance of Stewart. But COVID, right? So when a team goes over and Geelong went over and Bulldogs went over and they beat Port early in the year and they overcome all the circumstances, we talk about the challenges, being locked in your room, being locked in the cricket nets, and we go, but when they lose, we don't say it's a contributing factor. When they win, it's like they overcome that. So I think I missed the first half, I've got to be honest, because I had to take a call. So, but...
G'day, Luke. How you going?
But the second half, when I watched it, Port Adelaide to me... And I'll do Brownie, I'll talk about myself. Fremantle in that prelim against Sydney, that energy and that speed and the crowd, that's what it felt like to me. And Geelong just couldn't get their game going. They've done too much, too right for a long period of time in this season that I believe they'll get themselves and play good footy. But they'll be disappointed, but they've got to flush it, get rid of it and move on quickly because you haven't got time to dwell.
It was only 5 quarters ago they were 44 points up against what we think is the best side in Melbourne. I watched Paddy Dangerfield the other night, and I watched him in the preliminary final last year. So straight after the prelim final, he was so serious. It looked like he didn't want to celebrate when they won that prelim to put them into the grand final. Didn't have the best grand final. And he played like a man who had the weight of the world on his shoulders, thinking that I think I need to do this for Geelong. He looked really serious the other night, particularly early in the first quarter. He dropped that mark, and you'd forgive him for that because he's a wonderful player. But the Dangerfield that is happy and smiling, I think plays better football. And I think he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. I think he just needs to break the shackles and go out there and go, okay, if we win or lose this, it's not going to be the end of the world, but that might help him play better because it all rests not on him, but the rest of them.
I think it's a great point, Brownie. You can't have 22 desperate individuals trying to do it on their own, and you got to trust your system, trust what you've... And that's the play. Danger, do what's expected of you. Not more, not less. Just do the bit that you need to do. And otherwise, you do get desperate and you get reckless and you make errors. I think they're just going to pull it back to belief and trust in their system. And everyone just get out and execute your role, that weight of numbers, and they'll be fine.
Breaking news, Jay-Z.
Late changes for the Bulldogs in Josh Shackey and Ryan Gardner. That helps bolster their defence, but out Zane Cordy with illness and Jason Johannesson is the sub, which is a surprise.
Ooh, that is some big stories, which we'll talk about in the full game preview.
Yeah,
the
some
Giants.
concerns.
Yeah.
I've got
Do you think he's out
big
because-
concern?
What's that?
Last week we spoke about Dyson Eppley. Walked out in the MCG. He had bare feet, and you said he's going to play a good game
Earther.
today. He's
Yep.
an earther.
Yep.
He's getting his feet in line with the earth. I'm having a look at the screen at the moment. Got a big pair of orange sneakers on, not touching the earth with his feet, Howard. So this goes in the face of what you believe he plays good footy.
Well, we were proven right last week, and he was in touch during the week, Brownie, and he said he had a mate ring him after the game to tell him how we were calling the earther, and he pretty much puts earthing down to a lot of his success. I've extrapolated a little bit from his text message there, but that is a concern.
And it's no surprise that the next time I looked up, Luke Hodges changed that jacket he had on too.
The big one. Hey, after
Yes.
the break, Howie,
Yes.
can we talk about finals moments?
Yes.
And whether you step up or you shrink under the pressure. September.
My word, we can.
We got a couple of the greats here, particularly Ken and Duck. Well, what is it about the big moments?
Don't
that
forget,
makes
Nathan kicked 2 goals in 6 finals. We
Yeah,
found
that's a
that
good
out.
point.
Hey, Giants
He's a
versus
midfielder.
Cats. Probably next Friday, is it, Jay-Z? Giants versus Cats in Perth. Who wins that one, Duck?
Yeah, look, you've got to. I think the way the Cats have bounced back, history tells you they bounce back hard. So I think they go in as favourites. I'd probably tip them as of now. And I think Green, clearly, with all that hanging over his head.
Yep.
So Cats for me.
They're going favourites, but they did beat them down at the Catriona a couple of weeks ago without Toby Green as well.
They'll have real belief, the Giants,
Yeah.
based on if you can go to Cardinia Park and win. So they'll be like full of belief. The Cats going to have to be at their very best.
Yeah.
Hopefully, a few of their players run. But the back line just didn't look the same, did it, without Stewart?
And Clarkey, just to confirm in my brain, so the winner of the Giants versus the Cats, they flip onto which side of the preliminary finals?
Melbourne.
That's
They
right.
take on Melbourne. Okay.
Ooh.
Ooh, gee whiz.
Who's the premiership favourite?
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
And have been for a long time.
In front of Port Adelaide.
Oh, well,
Oh, yeah. I had
Yeah, okay.
Geelong until they ran into those injuries.